Thank you so much. I'm apologizing. I showed the disclaimers, but obviously you guys could read them. And going through, and I appreciate that. Letting me know that I didn't even see my button was not. So let's go back and look at our week in review. There's not a whole lot, guys. We are noticing that there's not a whole lot of trading. I'm not going to be trading my gearbox, my variable, or Arrow live. I may look at Arrow today with you guys, but not going to be doing a whole lot outside of that. Just not a whole lot of volatility. As you can tell by looking at our calendar for this last week and today, lots of bank holidays. And when we flip it forward, you'll notice it's still the same. So there's not going to be a whole lot of movement. It's going to be really flat. And those who are trading are not going to be your large institutions, banks, governments, and things like that. They pretty much have already done their work, and they're getting ready they're not probably even showing up this next week. They're not adding to their accounts or anything like that. So it's going to be probably late the first week of January into the second week of January where things start going more back to normal. So we're going to see some real weird looking type movements. You're not going to see any big money making the charts move. So it's kind of a risky play to be. There's no predictability more than anything else. So that's our calendar. Looking back at our IRIS notifications, the last one we had just kind of confirms everything that we've been talking about. Is that the last one we had was December 21st. I went back, made sure. Now you can find wedges all over the place, but not IRIS quality wedges. So I'm going to look back at December. I probably would not have traded that one anyway. We may have even looked at it before. What I would do in a search situation like this is a couple of things. I would take my chart, and you can find wedges anywhere. Not necessarily that pair. Doesn't look all that great. I like using momentum with my IRIS alert. This is my momentum charts. Obviously, it's real messy here. These are all the majors that we have, and then these are broken down into smaller. So you've got, even with the U.S. Kiwi, you're seeing the Kiwi strong, the dollar's weak, but you're seeing the dollar strong, Kiwi's weak, and over here, dollar's weak, Kiwi strong. So it's kind of a mixed breed. If I had to guess, it's going to go up. But when we look at the big picture, I'm going to drop this over to a 30. Even though we had this move up, we came right back down to where we're range bound. So we're really running up into a wall up in here. So it's a very, very small move. Look and see, maybe 10, 20 pips at most. I'll get my ruler out here, if it'll let me do it. My mouse has been acting funky. There we go. At 22 pips from where we are. It's not great. Not a big enough range, unless you're really playing a very, very tight stop and everything like that. Let's go look at a few pairs just to see what we got. I would imagine this one's going to look similar. And for those who are new in the room, what we have on here, if it looks overwhelming, I don't particularly like the black backgrounds. That's kind of what everybody kind of agreed to. If you'll see Al's charts, he likes the black. To me, it kind of makes it a little bit more intimidating. We have moving averages here. You don't necessarily need those. They're just kind of a helpful guide to your trading to figure out where everything's at. I do use the whole moving average. I'm noticing my hole's not on this one for some particular reason. I'll have to fix that later. But I can tell with the whole moving average here that the 15, 5, and 1 minute chart is green to go long. But that doesn't mean I need to go long right away. There's a big wall right here for me. Again, this is not necessarily wedge based on IRIS. This is wedge based on just eyesight. It's the same pictures you saw with the Kiwi. You could take it up, but you got a lot of moving averages, which usually plays into algorithmic trading where other people are saying, well, if it hits this line, I'm going to go short. If it hits this line, I'm going to go short. And now they're saying, well, this is going long. So you got a lot of mess right here is what you've got. With the Aussie, it's very similar to the U.S. as far as strength. The U.S. is the weak one of all of them. So if I was really, really wanting to get into a trade today and understand the pound is on a holiday, these numbers aren't going to be near as significant on the power play as they would normally in a normal week. But if we were just playing as if it was a normal week, we'd have the pound US would be a good one, and the US Swiss. So let's go ahead and take a look at the US Swiss. Now, on the big picture, the US Swiss has been in a long-term downtrend. What's crazy about this is I'm a contrarian type trader. Majority of the people are actually long this pair, which is crazy to me. It just goes to show you that people don't pay attention. They just want to get rich quick. But look at this downtrend. Now we have some flattening, but this is the holidays. It's been in a downtrend for quite some time. And we are having our normal ebb and flow, but this is a 4-hour chart. If I come over here to a week, you're going to see it has not been going anywhere. It's just a downtrend. And what's crazy about that is majority of the people are long. And so this is a nice one for me to consider going short on, because if I know that most traders are wrong, 95% of the time they're wrong, and most of them are long, then I like this on a short. Now, would I take a short now? Probably not quite yet. We always want to look back. If we break this line right here where we are right now and are able to close below that line, even on a 5-minute chart, I would consider it. And we've broken a wedge way back here. There's another wedge back there, but it's this line right here that I would be considering. And that would be a momentum move. It wouldn't be necessarily anything other than a momentum move. There's no true wedge there. You had a wedge coming down, it went up, and now it's just coming back down to play this trend on the way down. Again, we've got the reason I would do this momentum type move is because the Swiss is so strong, the US is showing the weakest, and all across the board we're having a huge spread. So looking at it right now, we're just there. So I could come in right here, and again, this is just a demo account, so I'm just showing you how to get myself back into doing it as well. I'm going to go ahead and trade a short on this just for something for us to look at. And I'm going to put this, it's going to be just a nice 7 pip, and I'll go 13 on this just to keep it reasonable. No reason to get. So it looked like this. So if I'm doing an IRIS alert, I'm only looking to go 7 pips. I'm not looking to do the long-term intraday type swing trade where I'm looking to be in hours. I'm looking to be, 10, 15, 30 minutes, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at most. That's the hope. But when a market like this is happening, it could take a long time. But what we do is I normally would come in here once I've had the wedge alert, and we're just kind of waiting for the wedge alert to happen. I would come in here and just manage it off of the 5-minute. So let's go ahead and bring this up if I can remember how to do that. There we go. And just see what happens. We did have a close just about the same place as that. And this is as if an IRIS alert came in, playing strictly momentum with IRIS. Now, some people would be concerned about the RSI being way down low. They could come back. I don't pay attention near as much to the RSI, but that's my style. And then it becomes just a sit and a watch game, and relatively boring, which it should be. Still, I'm going to go back here while we're waiting here. December 21st. That's not even a good time. We'll go look at that. We'll keep this one up for possibilities of doing an arrow trade if it happens to pop up for us. Everything else for me is turned off. Man, we're moving. We've made $249 as of right now. And again, 7 at the proper position size, 7 pips with the right proper position size can be your 2 to 3% a day, and then you get done and you'll be out of there. I would think we'd have a grind though. And then we always want to look back. What's back there? And I haven't put on any of the other tools that I would normally have. Our target's in great place, but we are sitting at a little spot there. Target's in good spot. I'll go ahead and close that off. I like the moving averages just to be able to see them. And Eva, thanks for letting me know that I was muted.
Not a problem. I wasn't sure if you were talking or not, to be honest.
Yeah. I had everything else going right, but I had no idea that my mic was muted. So I think it's just going to be one of those boring days.
Yeah. There's been quite a few of them in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's normal. I mean, you go back and look historically. I mean, that's why I took my gearbox from the daily to the 4-hour, because I expected to have little movement, and it did, and it worked out well. But I had several traders ask me if I was doing trade this week. I'm not trading anytime between Christmas and New Year's. Up to Christmas is a little bit better than the week between, because a lot of people take vacations from the Christmas holiday to the New Year's holiday.
So are you running gearbox though? You're going to be running
I'm not running gearbox. I'm not running variable, not live.
Really?
The only one I'm going to watch a little bit is the arrow.
Yeah.
I've seen too much junk happen during this week that why waste a good week before? I mean, I ended up 19% for that November 3rd from Thanksgiving to last week. And I didn't want to, why lose money when you don't have to? It's just not very predictable right now.
Yeah, very true.
I mean, if I had a little bitty junk account that I wanted to just play to find out how things worked and ebbed and flowed during the holiday, I would do it. But most people who have a small account can't afford to have a bunch of losing weeks just to test.
No, I'm running demo on variable, and it's doing well, to be honest, on a small account.
Let's see. Let's go look at the variable real quick while we're waiting. This is I may put my nephew in touch with you as well.
In touch with me?
Yeah, because he just signed up for variable. He wanted gearbox, ended up on variable.
Oh, is this Eric?
It's what?
Eric?
Caleb.
Oh, okay.
Caleb, yeah. So we just had a CAD Swiss. So let's do a little mix here. CAD Swiss, and then we'll jump over a variable. I'm guessing still it's not going to be pretty. I'm betting it's going to be high on the. Yeah, this is not one you would take with arrow. You've got your bounce, arrow, and you had a close, but you're sitting on a resistant support. So traditionally on the tool, you would not take this trade.
Yeah, I'd like to really learn this. I'm going to have to demo it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's not difficult to learn. It's pretty straightforward. I need to probably be on my remote because things are moving really slow. Variable. So which pair do you have going right now?
I've got NASDAQ and gold running on it.
Let's just jump over to gold just for fun.
Kicks.
Just for kicks. Do you use the gold, this one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Your NASDAQ is what?
Is it on there? It's a US Tech. There it is at the very bottom. Yeah.
Get that up and show both of those. So let's go here. And I did have a default. Let me see if I can put a default on there. It should pop up. There you go. That is your Nice little, if I was on a live, I wasn't on a live account, I would do this. Now, do you use the 5-minute chart for this one?
For variable,
I guess it doesn't matter.
Irrespective of chart, it doesn't matter. It doesn't go by the chart. It goes by price action.
And when you do position size, does it do it for you too?
I actually override everything because sometimes I find the default is a little higher than what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I make it even more conservative by plugging in my own settings. So the NASDAQ right now, I'm running it at a 0.02 position size. And I find that when you put in the default, it starts at 0.03.
Ooh, wow. Okay. So I've got mine at 0.01.
Which is good too. I mean, especially when you're just starting up, but I'm on demo, don't forget. I think once I go live, I will do the 0.01 to start off with.
That's what it looks like. I'm not, again, this is a live account, so I'm not trading it. But that's what variable looks like for those who are interested in seeing it. And I've got 2 demos going on right now. I'm doing a demo for swing trading on the arrow, and I'm also doing a scalping. Now, what this is with as you notice, I'm on a 4-hour chart doing a swing type trade on arrow. You don't get quite as many notifications, which is perfectly fine. That's what swing trading is. So sometimes that would be too boring. I'm not trading enough. Most traders would think I'm not trading enough. I'm trading. It really, you don't. You want to trade when it tells you to trade, not just because you want to feel like it. Let's go over to. Well, this one could be interesting.
I'm really looking forward to this because I hear there's a pretty good profitability rate as long as you follow it.
Follow the rules. Yeah. If you follow the rules and you don't jack with them too bad, obviously position size is a preference. That has nothing to do with it, but you can blow up an account. I mean, we had people during our early months of using Auvoria Prime tools saying that they were using the default settings and they blew up their account, which was not completely correct. They used default settings, but they maxed out their position size because they wanted to take more risk. And when it had their drawdown, they ended up blowing their accounts up. So they weren't following all the rules. They were just following the ones they wanted to follow.
That's right.
Which you do that usually will mess it up. Now, this could be interesting. This one could be interesting. This is the gold on arrow. We had our bounce. We're not quite above the moving average. If we get an arrow in here, then that may be an opportunity to consider, depending on how far you want to go. I think Al was always saying, $5 is what it was going for. Is that what he would shoot for? I think it was.
I follow I listen to Kevin, to be honest with you. He's
okay. And what's the distance for him that he would go on goal on this? Or does he even use the arrow?
Is all you go for target. He said it could go 40. He said, but generally that's where it'll stop and start going the other way.
Man, I really like taking this and just doing a $3 move.
Yeah, better in the bank
on the table. I mean, this is in my trading of trading. This is what they call pivot, obviously. And it's a pivot back to here. This is the original pivot, move down. We go on sideways. We move back into that supply area, that resistance area, and we move back down. But overall, it's on an up. Currently, we're above the moving. This would have been a good position. So you had to bounce off the green. This is a perfect example of how arrow can work. It's inside the shaded area, which is our money area. It hits our green, bounces above the moving average. On this candle right here, we had the arrow given. We would have taken a position on the very next candle, and then we would ride it until our rules tell us not to, whatever those rules might be.
Yeah. That's a pretty good move.
Yeah, and I think we're probably going to get the same thing. You won't have quite the move. You have a lot more room here than you will here, and you could very well go outside the realm there. So let's slim that back up again. And I just saw that one because I saw the opening here. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything that everything's right around the moving averages. This one may have made our target, depending on what we measure that off at. Everything's really sideways. Notice how close these things are. The red zones, green zones are really close. So they're a little difficult. And that's what you're going to find with this. So we've been talking for the last 10, 15 minutes or so, and we haven't moved but a few pips. And I've got in right here. Remember, before I was up 200 something dollars, now I'm down 100, and it wouldn't surprise me if it just takes and goes sideways today.
Yeah.
Just part of the game of playing it. You play during today, you're playing a risky game. And right from 99 bucks to $16 negative. So now position sizes aren't quite correct. So, but it's hard to get an IRIS alert when everything is really just flat. There's no direction, so it can't pull out those areas that we would normally want to pull out. Most likely, we're going to see this week a lot of different probably poor wedges form, because wedges can be formed anywhere.
Yeah. Once your eyes trained, you see them everywhere.
Yeah, and it makes you sick. Let's go back to blow this 15 one up. I didn't want to do that.
Oh, there you're in profit again.
Yay, 66 bucks. Take it or run.
Yeah.
Demo. See, I see a channel, but on this one, I really don't see much of a wedge unless I go way back here. And then we just broke it. So, I mean, if I really wanted to come in here and get a wedge set up, let me find my triangle tool. Could have come into this nice pivot low, and I'd probably come into here. And I'm doing it backwards, I think. It's an ascending, so no, I'm not right. Then I'd come into here. Yeah, backwards.
Where's your A?
Yeah, my A went away.
Your A disappeared.
Let's clear this one off. And I don't know if it's on top of one. Let's see. Try that again from the low point. It's starting. There we go.
Oh, okay.
It's on vacation too.
Yeah.
And really, that's what you're looking at. Yeah. And that's not great. That's not great. And you clean this up. I don't want that. I want to do that a little bit, see what the high point is. It's really a very, very bad ascending, and you probably could clean this in a little bit more. And it still doesn't change the picture of where we got in. We got in right when it broke. And you can see it's a long, drawn out triangle, which is our wedge. It's just a long, nasty thing.
Yeah. But it did break, so here's.
But it did break, yeah. we followed the rule. Again, we're playing in a time was not really great. The cool thing about it, guys, is that we are below all the moving averages. We did have the strength of our Swiss against the dollar. Notice the dollar's gotten stronger, though. That would explain this little thing. We're also coming closer to whatever market's going to be opening. So I would assume this is going to probably go against me. Just my opinion. At some point, it's going to go against me. Just keep that little triangle on there. Just for the fact that we are coming close to our market open here in the States. Canada has a bank holiday today as well, don't they?
Yeah, today is considered our Boxing Day, so it's a stat holiday. I don't know if our markets are open today or not. I gotta check that out. I don't think they are, to be honest, because the stat holiday fell on the weekend, so they generally will do it the next business day as the day off. But I'm just going to double check that. And yeah, so I would assume the US is the same. Okay. Oh, yeah. Canada markets are closed today. Oh,
Yeah.
US markets are open. It's
Yeah. US is open.
oh,
US is open. But again, what does that mean? There's,
well,
I know when I was in banking, this is the worst week. All you did was paperwork. There was
yeah.
no real, I mean, there's very, very few people doing anything with their accounts. Now, what we would focus in on during this time is new customer acquisition. But that has nothing, very little to do with the market because it takes a few days to weeks to get acquisition money into an account. So we won't see necessarily a whole lot of change in overall market. You know, you may have some stocks do some things today.
Yeah. Yeah. It
But as far as currency market, you probably won't have a whole lot of major things happen today. Nothing that's going to freak you out.
it does say that foreign exchange transactions will not be processed until Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah.
So tomorrow everything resumes back to normal hours. Anyway, not normal.
Right,
It's normal
right.
hours.
This is the best time to be a currency trader because you can take a vacation.
Yeah.
You
Without
don't have to be you don't have to be sitting at a computer. This is just freaking me out. I don't want triangle. I want measurement. That's why it's not. My brain is fried right now.
yeah, your brain's closed today as well.
Yeah. So in the last, what, 10, 15 minutes, we've gone 6 pips.
Mm.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is why we tell everybody to take a vacation. There's nothing wrong with, traders have a problem with that. They have a problem. They get addicted to, I have to be in a trade. Yeah, I haven't really, my manual trading that I teach on Monday evenings with the swing, I have not looked at it yet. I'm down, but I don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, I haven't taken a manual trade for a couple weeks now because of the way things are.
Yeah, it just, for me, it's just like, why?
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've been on a computer since Alan, our last meeting. I haven't looked at anything. I closed off my gearbox and closed down my variable, and that's all I've been. I haven't checked emails. I haven't been interesting.
Well, bit of a vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
Need that.
Now gearbox is semi-automatic. I would say here in the United States we have to approve trades. Variable, does variable have that same type of thing? It doesn't, does it?
No, it just keeps going.
Yeah, it just manages your trade. Once you set it up and you get started, it kind of does its thing.
Yeah, like oh, sorry. I'm just having a look at my account history on my variable, and since when the 20, what's today? Today's the 28th.
28th.
So let's say the last 3 days, last 2 days. Let's make it since yesterday. Okay. What have I done? 70, almost $71 in profit. So it's been, and I've got more trades open again. So it's opening them and then it's closing them. So it just chugs along, does its thing.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I need to study a little bit more on it. I mean, even though I'm running it live, I have a real struggle trading demo because I'm not tied into it. So what I do is I start with a small account and that way I don't waste a bunch of money learning, but I can't put myself in it until I know have to feel it.
Yeah, you got to have in the game.
I don't feel anything with demo in there. I mean, I don't ever encourage anybody to trade outside of a demo until they're ready to go. But for me, I've been trading so long that I can't use a demo. I just rather use a small account.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I mean, this, because it's so different, variable from what we've been doing with Einstein in my case. I thought I've got to do the demo, just see exactly how this moves, in particular,
Right.
because it moves charts as far as time goes. It doesn't matter if it's a 1 minute chart that's up or a 1 week chart that's up. It still does the same thing because it's just following price,
Right.
regardless.
And that's the thing is you have to understand the software.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason I'm holding back with variable, because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So if you're a new trader, you would want to do demo, and there is no rush to get live. That's what I'm trying to convince my nephew. Don't trade this week. And he's like, well, I'm ready to go. No, that's telling me you're gambling. You don't even, he's a brand new trader. I mean, he knows a little bit about stocks and he knows how to lose money with stocks. But I'm telling him, what are you in a rush for? We've got 52 weeks of the next year that you can trade. And if you use the software properly over time, I told him, give it at least a minimum of 90 days. If you give it a minimum of 90 days, you're going to see the growth that you want to see if you follow the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I'm going live with variable, probably the second week in January.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, when it goes back to somewhat normal market conditions, I hope.
The only thing that concerns me with new traders in demo is sometimes they get so caught up in demo that they can't get out of it. And we've had a few traders that can't get out of their way. They're just afraid to push the button live.
Yeah, they are. You'll never get ahead if you don't. And what you do is perfect. You get a small little account, like you throw like even $200 in it with
Yeah.
some EAs. You can do that. And if you lose the 200, it's not going to make or break your life.
That's exactly right. It's exactly the way you want to look at it. Looks like we've got some movement that's expected, pretty much expected. You had some dollar strength over here, but overall the picture is still Swiss. Normal pullback, pulling back to the moving averages, pulling back to the mean, if you want to call it the mean. You can see in the larger chart, if we do our middle line, it's be sitting right about here. Mm-hmm. It could very well pull back to where our stop loss is at, pretty much. Because where our stop loss is pretty much where the mean's at. And so for that reason, I'm going to pull it back just a bit. So just in case it does come up, we can watch it a little longer. I would not do this in a live account. I'm just doing it just in case it moves against it so we can watch and see what it does. Yeah. We've got a lot of things playing right here in our favor. On the 15, we did a bounce from the bottom on the RSI. We're still at a sell in the 15-minute on the whole moving average. So we got a bunch of different tools. The key what we're going to try to do in the next year is to try to simplify this, not be quite so intimidating, because people that are new to IRIS come into the room and they may see all this. And that to me is, if I didn't know what it was, I would probably leave the room, because I'm OCD. And so,
crazy.
Yeah, it freaks me out. But because I know what it is, I changed mine up a little bit and I made it just 2 on the other 2. So I made adjustments to not have to view my 15, because 15-minute chart is what we use to draw our wedge on. But most of the time we're going to be on the 1 and the 5 to manage it. So that helps me out. And so keeping it simple, I would not necessarily need the RSI. I don't particularly pay attention to that one a whole lot. I do pay attention to the whole. That's what this is. And this is just saying the 15 and the 5 are sells. And currently the 1 minute is a buy momentum. But again, you want these all 3 the same color when preferred. Mm-hmm. And once you understand the tools, it's really not difficult. I can't get that to go for me. I don't want all this measurement stuff. There we go. I'm a little out of practice with Trading View.
No, you're doing fine.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Trading's trading, though. It's still trading.
No, this is it. I like Trading View.
I do. I like it. I like my FXCM a little bit better. But that's just because I've been using it so long.
Yeah. It's all in what you get used to, I guess.
And I'm fast on it.
Yeah. And then you need that.
Yeah, I'm fast on it. This one I'm a little bit still clunky on. Now, we could come back and come in here, and we really changed our picture. Again, I don't do this when I'm trading. I don't change the picture, but really, let's say I came in late. I could come in here and I can really jack with it. And I'd really start here. Let's just clear this off. Make it easy. That's not a good one. Start that again. It's not high enough. I think this is higher then. Try again. For some reason, I'm losing my A right off the bat.
Isn't it?
It is on vacation. There we go. There's my D. It is just messing with my mind today. Look at that. When did it do that? That's just nuts.
Drawing a triangle 101.
Yeah. It didn't want to do it. It's crazy. It's a high one. There we go.
There you go. It's messing you around.
And when you have to force it, that's usually because it's wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a good trade. I shouldn't say the triangle is wrong. But when you start seeing this happening, that means you're probably not in the right spot.
Yeah.
And this also tells me just because I'm shallowing it out, we're in a channel. I mean, that's all it is. Yeah. It's a shallow channel, which is what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Everything's range bound.
Exactly. And when it's in a shallow channel like that, to me, I find more often than not, it takes forever until it finally gets to the point where it's going to go one way or the other.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go over here and see something else here. Looking for a little tool here. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a square box. That's going to be up here, I would bet, but I was wrong. Where's your square boxes at, your shapes?
Where is your shapes? Is it not, good question. I have it on my favorites bar, so I never have to look for it, which, hold on a moment. It's on where the brush is.
Brush. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a visual of this. Just eyeballing it.
Yeah. So look at that.
So when we look at that, this is all the way back to December 20th, 22nd, which is exactly what we said. We could probably even back this up just a tad and consider this movement right here where it crossed. All the moving averages crossed to be our range probably for the next week or so.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be a good way of looking at it. And can you find wedges in here? Yeah, but the question is it worth playing with? Yeah, so you got 50 pips. So the key would be is finding those places on the extremes. We didn't quite find it on the extreme, did we? We found it in the middle.
That's right.
So we can't expect this to be a winning trade. If it works out, it's a benefit. Great, wonderful. But if not, it's not that we necessarily did anything wrong because we had everything in the picture working for us. We just pressed it.
Yeah. It's ranging. It's just
forced a trade that didn't need to be traded. But that's what we were looking for, the U.S. Swiss. And looking on Swiss is the strong one. U.S. Now what I would look at, and these are closed markets. Remember, they were up higher. These markets are gone now. They're asleep. And Canadian dollar is still 4, but it's a market that's not open.
Yeah.
So this is a time where no tool that you have is really going to give you the information that you're used to getting. And there's the reason why you don't normally would trade during this time, because it's not going to give you the normal impulse and ebb and flow of the market. It's going to give it random based on whoever happened to wake up and stick some money in it. If it's a wealthy person, they can move it.
Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't be me
Yeah, if it's $100, it's not going to move it much.
doing anything.
I've actually seen a trader friend of mine who has some money on a bad day where there was no volatility. Actually, when he put his funds into the account, it was not a currency, it was futures, but when he put the money in, you could actually see his candle create.
Really, isn't that wrong?
It was only $100,000, but nobody was trading it.
Yeah.
That particular, I don't remember. I don't even think I've ever heard of the item that it was. So it wasn't like a popular one. It wasn't like a gold or corn or pork.
Pork bellies.
Yeah. And I think this one's going to go on up to the 62 moving average. I think that's where we're going to go. We're going to go to that 88, 8,900 area is probably where we're going to head to. And then we'll see what happens. I mean, that's where the mean is right now. You can see the mean be identified with all these moving averages on the 15 where they all crossed. That's your mean there. You can see the same thing with the blue line there, and you can see the same thing with the blue line here. It's all coming together in one spot.
Yeah.
And remember, we were only going for 7 pips. We weren't asking for a big move. And when we got in, we got 4 or 5 pips at most. And then each candle is very, very tiny right now.
Yeah. They're not doing a whole lot of anything.
No. And our whole moving average is flipped. We've got on the 1 minute, we're short. On the 15 minute, we're short. And on the 5 minute, we're long. So we've got some major issues of things that are not lining up, which is a great time to learn. That's why I'm not jumping off of onto another chart at this time, because there's really no chart to jump onto.
Yeah, they're all going to be the same. They're all going to just be fiddling around a little bit here and there.
Blow this up just a tad, give it kind of a bigger picture. There's my OCD kicking in again. I had to make them somewhat the same size.
Oh, that's funny.
You see how the 15 is smaller and 5 is a little bit bigger, and then 1 minute's a little bit dumb.
I do that too. So maybe I have a small degree.
I have mine's small. Mine's small. Just depends on what it is. It's not like some people suffer with. But if I go into a house, the pictures are crooked, I want to straighten them.
Yeah.
But I try not to, because it's their house. It's funny.
That would be a little bit.
We were fortunate enough to give away some 14-day passes recently. I think we had 6 people that we gave 14-day passes to.
I saw that.
Yeah, and it took me forever to get the little poster design, because I couldn't get it to measure out right.
Oh, it probably looks fine, but just not to you.
Not to me. Not to me. And everybody who's not OCD go, man, that's really straight. Yeah.
Perfectionist.
Yeah, I am. And I love what I saw with Auvoria Prime doing the food giveaway type thing.
I didn't even see that.
They did a promo where you could gift, or you can sign yourself up if you were in need. They were giving, I think, like a food package away. Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that? I didn't even see that.
Very, very solid. I just like him. I like Sal. I never met the man, but I like him so far. From everything I could tell, everybody just seems so nice. Yeah. I miss talking to Tyler.
Yeah, he's not really involved that way much, right?
I don't think he is. I think he's more the upper echelon. He's doing a lot of the looking for more new tools, from what I understand.
Development and whatnot, yeah.
Yeah, new software and doing what he does.
Well,
I think he's yeah. So he seems to
forte, right? That's, mind you, he's good at speaking. He's good at everything, really.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Another guy I would like to meet. I mean, it's funny to want to meet young guys. I mean, I'm not young anymore. It's funny. Hey, I'd like to meet this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of them there are pretty darn interesting.
Yeah, how they look at things, and
it's refreshing to see that younger generation with that mindset that they have.
yeah, they got the fire still.
Yeah.
My fire's not burned out. It's not gone. It's just I don't have the drive that they have. I used to.
Well, I
I,
think we
I,
all did.
I
Some,
think I've got the discipline now that I didn't have back then, but the drive is not there.
yeah,
So it's a catch-22. The discipline will help you definitely on the trading side of things. It does. I have a lot of patience that I did not have back then
yeah,
when I was their age. But you adjust with who you are as a trader, and I think Tyler is a risk taker too, and so am I. But I have family to worry about, so I can't quite go the edge that he goes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and he's bankrolled himself, so he can go here and there to check it out and see how things happen.
Absolutely. But
Yeah,
he's still smart enough not to do it always in live accounts.
yeah, yeah. No, he's a bright kid.
Yeah,
Really
he really is. And I'm looking forward to getting back with our team again
Mhm.
a little bit more. I'm hoping that the new year will be a little bit more normal in the school year.
Yeah,
Uh,
we missed
we, it's just weird. It's
it.
just really weird. I come home from school much later than I normally would in the past. I come home tired because I'm talking through a mask all day. You're
Yeah,
not getting the air that you normally would get, and you have to talk louder. So that's it. Yeah, it's a little bit more draining mentally than it used to be. And plus, I'm doing a new curriculum. I'm doing language arts now, and not just science and social studies. Science and social studies I can teach when I'm asleep.
yeah,
I like it so much that it's just enjoyable. Language arts, I'm not a big fan of. I'm a math guy, and so if I can't have math, give me social studies and science, and then of the worst thing that could happen was going to language arts for me.
yeah.
But it's
Well,
still not. It's still about the kids.
well, it is. It is. But you know what? The kids deserve to have somebody passionate about whatever it is they're teaching them.
Right, right. And they don't know that I don't love it. They think that I love it. This is what I dream of doing. Um, I like the social studies side of things. We get into some of the. I mean, next semester we start February. We start the stock market game.
Oh, cool. You're going to
Yeah,
love
so
it.
that will get me back more into my shtick.
Yeah.
And fourth graders, it's going to be an interesting year for them to learn stocks because of the fact that with the new administration, you never know which direction it's going to go. And my bet is we're going to go into a slides with the stocks, and we're going to be able
Okay.
to short. I will be able to teach them how to make money on the way down.
Yeah.
The problem will be is that the charts that they're going to be looking at are going to normally have a uptrend to them. So will they see the downtrend switch? The trend is my friend to the bend in the end. They write that over and over in their book. The question is, you can write that all day long, but if you can't recognize the bend, how do you know?
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun. We had a few years back NBC come out and interview our kids during the stock market game, and dadgum if they just didn't repeat every word I said. And they're brilliant, brilliant kids. I picked two, one girl, one boy, and I knew that they would not be scared of the cameras. And boy, they you would have thought I was speaking. It was just funny to hear them repeat. 90% of all traders lose money in the market, 5% break even, and only 5% really make money. And they said it like, and the guy that was interviewing the anchor was interviewing him, was looking at, what are you talking about? And then one of the guys, Gatlin, the boy, he said, yeah, the reason my team is winning is because we decided to short. I forget what stock he said. He said, we noticed the downtrend. The momentum was moving down on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily chart. So we went short and it continued its momentum. The guy's going, what's short? He said, well, short is when you can make money on the way down. And the
That's,
anchor had no idea what shorting was.
that's,
And Gatlin looks at him and says, you act like you don't understand what short is, because 95% of Americans don't know they can short. That's why they lose money in the markets. I was like, God.
I don't understand what happened to Martha Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny because they had to edit quite a bit of it out. but you could see the baffled look by the anchor. It was hilarious. Just like, where are these guys? And these weren't our gifted and talented kids. These were just average kids. You know, I didn't pick the gifted and talented. I wanted the average kid, and they did great. It was hilarious. I just sat back and laughed. They wanted to interview me, and I told them, no, it's about the kids.
Yeah.
They don't need to interview me.
Yeah. You can't add to what the kids told you. So
No, yeah. Take it and learn. Okay.
what was that now?
That was a notification on Telegram. That's my nephew asking who you were, and I said, so I'll put him in contact with you.
Okay.
He won't be around the computer today, he said. Too much. So
Okay.
he wanted me to call him, so I'll call him and let him know. You'll kind of be his guide on variable since I'm learning with him.
Okay.
He's on demo, so it's a good thing. And I think, you know, a couple things he wants to have, he wants the computer to think for him. Not that he doesn't want to be involved. I thought that was, you know, either gearbox or variable is great for that.
Yeah.
And then I showed him arrow, and he says, well, maybe when I get good at this. I said, absolutely. That's what you want. You want to get good, earn while you learn, and then go to the manual stuff. Let's see if we got anything. I haven't heard a ding come across on arrow either. No, that's bad. That just tells you everything in the market is really, really slow. Let's go check this real quick. There we go. This should be my 15-minute chart. Right here. There we go. Let's see what we got. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised I didn't. Maybe my phone wasn't on. Euro yen 15-minute chart. I know this is not IRIS, but it's trading nonetheless, and you can learn from anything. Okay, let's slide this over. Okay, we could have, but we didn't have a whole lot of room. So we have the bounce above the moving average, got our arrow in the direction of the overall trend, but we have a resistance line per rule. If we can't get 20 pips in that range, then we don't take the trade. And we would have been in right about here, because the rule is once you get the arrow, take it on the opening of the next candle. So you'd be break even right now, moving down probably. Again, you're not going to have a whole lot of movement today, and that's a pretty small range. So let's just say 40, 30 pip range ish. Very small. Very small. But very simple.
What is it that you're doing as far as I'm trying to find where I've written down what Al does with the arrow.
Arrow has a number of different strategies that you can pull off. You have the first easiest one is what they call bounce arrow go. That strategy where you take a 20 pip target, 40 pip stop loss. Once you get the bounce from either a support or resistance line, then an arrow in the favor of the trend, then you take it once the candle closes, you take the opening, go 20 pips as long as there's no resistance. That's one of them. Now there's another one that's trend oriented. I think he's got like 7 different types of strategies. 3 or 4 of them he's put out there already on his videos. The developer's Nathan Williams. I just spoke with him last week about getting some coaching on this. Since it's so much like the only thing really different about this than my Monday night strategies is you got the arrows that help you.
Right.
And that's kind of a nice thing. Other than that, he's definitely trend trading, whereas I'm counter crowd trading, but usually counter crowd trading is trend. Because
right.
And we can prove that because 90% of traders lose money. And so when I went back and looked at any of these type of particular pairs that he's trading, usually in the big picture, I'm still trading with trend. It works out really, really well.
So I guess I'll have to go and have a look at some of his videos that are on Auvoria Prime.
Yeah. Nathan seems to be pretty bright on it. He's a mathematician. I would just say that when you look at arrow, be careful to think that green means it's up, because this is actually a red candle.
It's a red.
Green is just showing you the overall trend. It's not showing you the candlesticks that he is using is not red green oriented. It's not closing necessarily like this candle right here is actually a red candle on a normal red green candlestick chart.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Does that make sense? He's colored them based on trend. You'll notice there's a different color here and different color green here, a couple of different pinks instead of reds. So you cannot use these as a color guide as to what the current candle is. You have to be able to read price. So in this case, we opened up here, we went up, and we've gone down since.
Right.
So that takes a little bit of skill to understand, but it really doesn't play into the strategy itself.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah, here we go. Now we're going back to the mean like we thought we would. Swiss is amazingly still strong. US is still mediocre in the big picture, but we're just heading back to the mean. And it would not surprise me if you got to drop base. I would probably move just to be long-term, a little longer term is move my stop there. Mm-hmm. If I really wanted to try to make money here, because you got what they call a level on a level. You got a basing level right here. And yes, we don't see, what I would call this is, so if we were looking at this on the, let's do that. Let's look at it on the arrow. And maybe that'll give a visual of this picture right here. We'll be on a 15-minute chart. So let me look at, show you how nothing really changes in trading. It's all the same if you understand it. Okay, so what I'm seeing in this is we got a pivot high, a basing right around the 8,900 mark. And I'm looking back here, I'm looking back here. So this line right there would be a possible basing. And then we probably are pretty close to a resistance area as well. Looking back on historical price here, we're probably running up against it. So let's see what we got here. That was the US Swiss. I think I've got that on here. Yeah, right here. And just a comparison, well, we're further away, but we've got our resistance. We said 8,900. So he's got resistance a little higher up. We are in the money zone, but we do have this moving average sitting right at the 88.99 area. That would be our normal resistance. My bet is we had resistance back in the past. These are the extremes of our box, basically.
Okay.
So we had our box at this is 88.80, I guess, and 88.67. So we can, in his box, he moved it up to this point, which is still fair. That's still fair because that's some recent pivots. So he's basically playing the extreme here, and we were taking profit right at the same point of their weak and retested. So this is a zone he feels like he calls weak. It could pause the price, but if you see retest 3, then if there's a number there, that's a stronger number. The higher the number, the stronger the area of resistance would be. Okay. Which is kind of counter to what I used to hear. But I don't pay as much attention to that other than I do bounce off the green arrow, don't have enough room. It would have made the price that you wanted, but I would not have taken this because this zone was here. That doesn't mean it doesn't work, but it's better to be out of a trade and not lose money than to take a chance just to hope. Now, this one is interesting. This is a down. Next candle would have been here, but it's right on top. Now, there are some traders who will say, okay, here's a down arrow. I'm going to wait for it to pull back here and then take it down if they feel it's going to go down.
Right.
Which is where we're at with this.
Yeah. Oh, and I see candle color there too.
Yeah.
Blue on this chart, and on the other one it's red.
Yeah. Yeah. And so basically what we did is we jumped a gun on an entry, which is typical of me. I'm an aggressive trader. However, if I really believe that this thing was going down, I would definitely be looking at this mean as a possible entry point. And you can see it all the way back here. Mm-hmm. This area right here has become a mean area.
Yeah.
And variable uses a lot of mean averages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gearbox as well. They're going to revert back to the mean pullbacks.
Pretty much trading is hugely based on that, you know?
It's price.
Yeah.
It's, you've got so many people on social media promoting all these things that are, we can make this, we can make that. If it's not price based, it's probably not going to work. Or it will work until it doesn't, I should say.
It doesn't, exactly.
But the thing that I'm finding with their tools with Auvoria Prime is they're price based, and they're going to work until they don't. But there's pretty good robust stuff inside of it to where it actually will adjust to the market as well.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the EAs won't do that.
Yeah, I'm really liking the variable, I gotta say.
Well, we've come a long way since March.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I'm really excited to go live with it.
I think they can only, they're only going to get better. We just got to be cognizant enough to recognize when a particular tool doesn't work for a particular market to get out of that tool and don't blame the tool.
Yeah, that's right. Like on my demo, like I told you, I guess last week, I've been running it since what did I say, October, the end of October. I've been running variable, and it's been doing extremely well. So then I started messing with the settings, still on demo, just experimenting between the three of us, Al, Paul, and myself. And that's when everything went off the rails. And I thought, okay, I'm scrapping the whole thing and I'm going right back to the same 2 charts that I used, same settings, and just let it do its thing. So I had an account that went from 2,000 down to 1,200 from all the messing around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just to remind everyone, this is demo though. So now I'm up to almost $1,500 just in the last 2 weeks, running it back to the way I was running it before. So, it pays to experiment on demo. And when you find something that works, when you go live, don't touch it.
Well, the developers, the thing about Auvoria Prime is they've kind of vetted it already.
Yeah.
That's the problem that we have is we think as traders, well, they've vetted it, but maybe it's not what I think it is. Maybe it's, I can do better.
Yeah. Everybody wants to reinvent the wheel.
Right. I know me better than anybody knows me, but they vetted it with a lot of data. Now I am testing variable, and you can see and I'm not playing crazy with it, but you can see even when I don't know what I'm doing, since December 11th to now, I'm up 6%.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I can honestly say, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing. Yeah. I'm playing around, and there are people who are much better traders than I am that definitely could get, into it, understand it, and grow from it. And with my time limitations, I don't want to spend too much time having to learn. And so I want to make it as simple for me time-wise as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I was telling Nathan Williams, the developer of Arrow, why I liked his, because it does not take as much time. And there we go. Let me show you this. This is again Gearbox from when I started Gearbox. And again, my trading is for time. This is my time thing. I consider this is my savings on steroids. Amy had a good comment about it. She called it savings with a shield, because there's protection now with Gearbox.
Yeah.
And so it's done a fantastic job. I mean, 85% wins. I mean, it's great. So it's savings. My real trading will come in AIRIS and in Arrow. Those are the things that when I get my notification on my phone, I can look at it and say yay or nay. And I can even do it from school when time allows.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
And then be able to help find, bring people on board our team and grow the team as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It's kind of nice to, it's nice when you get into an EA like me with variable, for example, where I'm really understanding how it works because I've been demoing it for so long, and the benefit of us switching up the different settings has actually showed us what not to do,
What not to do.
how it affects things. So that's always helpful. So when you have a team that wants to try to use variable, at least you have some answers for them because
Right.
you yourself have gone through it and you know what it's doing. And that's always a helpful thing.
It's been really cool. I've watched, of course, I've seen Trade Masters grow. Amy's been bringing a lot of more activity there, and that's been pretty helpful because I can always tell any new trader, hey, just post your question. If I'm not there, if I'm not home, just post your questions in the channel, and somebody's going to answer them. And we've got some good traders in the Trade Master group now that are highly active, which is very cool too.
Good.
Well, it came up to our mean.
Sorry, go ahead.
It came up to our mean.
Oh yeah, did look at that.
And we'll see what happens. I think it's going to stay exactly the same as it's been. I think this is going to be the trade that goes through the end of our time session.
Yeah, this is like watching a snail go across the floor.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's exciting. It's why all these people want to jump in the room and watch paint dry.
Yeah.
And that's part of the struggle with manual trading is a lot of the new traders are wanting something exciting and they want something shiny, and there's pieces out there that can be shiny and exciting and entertaining, but if you're doing that, then you're probably not really trading. You're probably more gambling. You'd be better off just going to Shreveport or Vegas and throwing your money out that way and having a good time. Trading should somewhat become boring. It should not. I'm not saying boring as I don't want to ever do this anymore, but it should be just more of a community time, where you come into a community and talk about your trades and let them do what they're going to do. Let the trading part be boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty well, of course I've been trading a long time now. So I'm definitely bored. It doesn't excite me at all. I don't get all revved up anymore like I used to. Don't get me wrong. I like to win. I still like to win.
Yeah.
But I don't get revved up. I remember the first year or so, man, daggone if I wasn't chasing everything. It was basically trading on testosterone is what it was for me.
Yeah, me too.
I chased everything. And it was very rough.
Yeah.
And then many times I blame the tool. I would never blame myself, of course.
Of course not.
It was when I started blaming myself that I started realizing trading was more me than it was any software or any trading group or Facebook group or education that I have or did not have. I mean, you and I know we've talked about this before. Some of the people that we've traded with spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on education only to lose. And what's the, and they go out and spend more money on education books and all that stuff. And there's a common denominator, and it's never the books. It's never the education. It's never the community. It's never any of that. Common denominator is the person.
Yeah.
If you're losing, if it's been years since you've won consistently, it's not the books and the education. It's the trader.
That's right.
And here's a lesson.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, here's a lesson on a little bit of price action stuff on a 1 minute. Now, 1 minute charts are a little bit squirrely anyway. So
yeah,
I want you to notice this area right here, right? The 8905 area. And if you notice, we have a pivot here, another base at the 8902, but really this pivot drop here, not pivot, but down, leg, base, down, base, down, base, drop. This area right here, because of the three candles that moved down strong, is a key area, which is at the 88.96. Look where it came back up to.
Exactly.
And fell. This because of the strong movement down. Now, understand, guys, that these three candles are not that far. But if you see this on a higher time frame, even the higher you see these kind of 3 candle, 4 candle moves, sellers are in charge. Any time frame, any picture like this, where it based right before is unfilled orders. Those unfilled orders need to get filled again. Now, this tells me that it doesn't mean this can't still be valid, because we got it all the way up to this line up here. So we can go to 88.98 and still be in orders that it moved away and they couldn't fill. But we filled a lot of them when we got up here just a moment ago, and we went back down. That's this area here. Now, if we're truly in a downtrend and not sideways, this movement took us all the way down to here. If we're truly in a downtrend, then the next movement should take us below. If not, then that's a good key that you're still sideways. Yeah. If we start meandering around and it does not, if it goes back up here and then if it goes a little higher than it did before and then it comes down, then we're still sideways. This key area, these are key areas: drop base, big boom move right there. And we got, again, like most traders, we get the move a little bit too late, but we followed our rules. We did what we wanted to do. We got in the trade. We had some movement, and then we've had flow. Now we're getting closer to our market open, and we still had a drop. So I, again, would still say, looking at this moving average, this is again on a 1 minute chart. You look at all the charts right now, and your blue line, at least on our trading view, is going to be relatively flat. And so therefore that tells you flat, that there were sideways. So if you can't identify a trend, then understand you're sideways. And then if you understand that you're sideways, then you have to determine, is your box, from your high to your low, big enough to spend the time sitting here for an hour to 2 hours waiting for it to come to your rescue. And I think this could very well go right back to where we entered and just do its thing. I just don't see it really doing much at all. And this is the same picture. Came up to our mean and it's fallen away. Mm-hmm. But we're going to have a grind. We're sideways.
Yeah.
Let's drop and see if we got any other notifications. I don't think we have. We haven't.
How do you tell if you received a notification?
It pops up an alert box, and I also get it on my phone.
Oh, okay.
I get a push notification on my phone. I have my phone turned off. That's why I'm not hearing them right now. But I also, since I'm online today, I'm watching it here, and it'll tell me.
Yeah.
But I mean, good night. You look at this, and let's go ahead and blow this up again. We're normally done in about 15 minutes, right, Eva?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I was really hoping we'd hit the target before then, but there's just not a chance that's going to happen. I can't imagine.
Yeah. Unless something bizarre happens.
Yeah. And if you look at the past 10 minutes, we've moved 2 pips.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now we've got an arrow alert. It just came on my phone. So it looks like this. US CAD, a sell. That would make sense. The US dollar is weak. So we go to US CAD. Just check it out. Again, this is arrow. This is not IRIS. Okay, so we had a bounce off the resistance. We're below the moving average. We got it down. We could take it. If this measured 20, you could take a test. You could take a 20 run on it. Looking at it, it doesn't look like it's 20 for me, so I wouldn't take it. Again, we're sideways. Mm-hmm. Everything's sideways. So that's a quick look. It doesn't take much to look at it. And of course, I'm not doing gearbox or variable, but we can look at variable, and it hasn't moved much either.
It hasn't even opened a trade for you. For
right. Well, the market, I'm not in it. I've got auto trading off.
Oh,
this is live account. Yeah, okay. Live. Unhappy face for those who get caught new. If you're new watching, unhappy face means a couple of things. Either you have the settings wrong, or you forgot to push the auto trading button. Mm-hmm. And it's not ready. It's not ready to work. So I'm not trading this during the holidays. So that's why mine's unhappy. And there's our initial drop down. And again, this is what's crazy. The Swiss is so much stronger than the US, but it's going up.
Yeah.
That just tells you that these aren't real today.
It makes no
There's
sense.
not enough volume to really to verify them. Not enough volume. Tools only work until they don't. If you understand what the tools are doing,
Yep.
you would have to really get some, because all tools are based on volume. It's mathematically gathering the information based on what's happening. If things aren't happening, it can't measure that. And you have a mix of short, long, short on the whole moving average. You have both RSI sitting right in the middle. I would still think that this has power to go down overall, but it could take hours. And we'll see. We'll leave it alone and catch it tomorrow morning and see what happens. Let's go ahead and mark it up and see what happens. That way it's here tomorrow when we do it. So let me go ahead and
check it out.
And we mark it. We're short, and we went short right here ish. I don't want to mess anything up. Now, again, I would not normally put that high of a stop, but I'm doing it just for our benefit. And that's close.
Yeah.
That says a target of 10. We actually going for 7. But that'll be here tomorrow. We'll see what happens during the, it wouldn't surprise me if we're still in the trade tomorrow morning. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it does overnight. Yeah. Once the Swiss opens again in the middle of our night.
That will be the key. What's happening with the Swiss? But again, going back to our calendar, I thought everybody had a holiday. That's Friday. That's Fridays. So the Friday, their Swiss is open tomorrow. So everybody looks to be open tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we start the same craziness.
Yeah, the 31st.
Yeah.
Wednesday, the Japan's closed.
That's crazy.
And yeah.
And you didn't see this before Christmas. That's why I said this week in between, dangerous.
Yeah.
Just because you can't, there's no predictability.
And next week too.
Yeah, a little bit more predictable next week. It's kind of the start of everything. But you really want to be involved on the third, this week.
Yeah.
More involved.
Yeah. That's when I plan on going live.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with this one necessarily. I may go back into Gearbox with this and just let it do what it's going to do.
A lot of news,
especially towards the end of the week, Canadian, US, and the question will be for me, if Gearbox takes that US CAD trade, do I take it or do I leave it alone? Because it can handle the euro. The euro's hardly having any news next week.
Yeah.
Swiss is not having any news next week. The yen's not having. So there are some choices that we can make. We can close off some boxes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or you play the risk and let it do its thing, whatever that is.
Exactly. I mean, you take it on its own merit, right?
Whatever happens, you don't trade to lose, but the reason you put the risk out there is to win.
That's right.
And you don't know.
Another good thing about variable as well is that the news does not affect it.
That means it's doing mathematicals.
Yeah.
I don't understand them, but that's an interesting candle coming up on that minute for the US Swiss. I guess it's coming to the market open. That if that goes down a little further, then we have a nice engulfing candle. Nope, didn't quite make it. But the moving averages pretty much are still pointing down. On the 15, notice our strength is still Swiss.
Yeah.
And
look at it all along.
Yeah, there for a while we were thinking, oh, this is going to go up. And then now we look, and now it's going to go down, and we don't know. All 3 moving averages are now short. It looks like the pressure's down.
And how long did that take? An hour and a half for
Since we started, yeah, pretty much since we started today. It's a fantastic speed.
Yeah.
To be honest, back when trading is normal, it would not be abnormal to have a iris alert and be out in 10 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. An
And then
hour.
there were those few that went an hour, hour and a half, but
Yeah.
those are unpredictable ones.
But it's forming a little tiny wedge on the 1 minute.
Yeah, right here. Right here.
Yep.
And what Eva's saying is, if let's blow this up, you could actually come in. That looks like a descending to me.
Yes.
That's not precise, but that would be what we're looking at. So again, looking at this, is that pretty much what you were saying?
Yeah, I was actually seeing the B a little bit higher at that other.
This one?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't change the picture much.
Not really. No. Not at all.
So what we're looking at is our entry was on a wedge before, or a long-term wedge, and we've created a wedge inside of that wedge with the same entry, pretty much. That's another indication usually of being very sideways. Wedge inside of a wedge at the same identical spot.
Yeah.
But to me, the picture is overall down, but we don't know.
Just out of curiosity, Brian, can you move your B over to the left where that other pivot point is? Right there, and then move your D down to where it just was.
Sure. Now you're in the middle.
Yeah.
And that would mean that we're taking a trade in the middle of a triangle with our target before we get to the base, which still is cool. Knowing that, I would bring my stop down to here to save some money and change this up a little bit before we call it a day on this. Let's set it up just like we would normally. So I'm risking about 18 pips ish to go 10 ish. But notice the direction that the overall momentum is.
Yeah.
Now, there are theories that say on a descending, you want to be looking to go long. So there are dissenting opinions on that. I don't ever look for a particular side.
No, it's just what happens. But
whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. And if you're within the wedge, like how it's set up right now, we're fully expecting it to possibly come down and tag that bottom line before it goes the other way.
If it happens to get down there again, normally I would take the profit and go.
Yeah.
I won't this time because of the overnight. I want to see what it does overnight.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
And so we just got another picture over here. Let's see what we got. Gold buy. Remember we talked about gold buy on variable.
Yep.
There it was.
Yeah.
So, and that would make sense. Our market's kind of going nuts. So if I was going to be,
you're showing us.
That's what?
That's NASDAQ you're showing us.
Oh,
I don't think
gold.
Drag the gold.
I didn't. It's going to probably look similar.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I would never have two charts on this for my account size. Yeah. Still averaging up. Your overall trend is up. But I would think that this one would also remain sideways during the next week or so.
Yeah.
Unless there's some stuff going on that we don't know about. And at that point we're not in control of it anyway.
Yeah.
That 1895 is a big area.
There you go.
Yeah, so we've covered gearbox a little bit today. just a little bit of variable today, a little bit of arrow today, and had no iris alerts, but that doesn't surprise me.
No,
it does not surprise me at all. And again, because we're expecting iris to give us quality wedge alerts, and we would expect consolidation happening during this time anyway. Just because consolidation happens does not mean that it's a good wedge alert. You can
Right.
find wedges, and I would probably, to be honest, I would probably be moving. I would still have that up here. What does it change? The sharpness of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great zone right there. That's going to be your resistance right there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a booger regardless.
I know. But you know what? I can't wait to see what it's going to look like tomorrow.
I agree. Well, with that being said, we've come to our time. We will do it again tomorrow. Thanks, Eva, for the help.
No problem.
And, we will see you guys tomorrow morning.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great
Bye, everybody.